Hey guys, it's Renee here. Welcome to another video. Now, I haven't actually uploaded on my YouTube channel for a very long time. A few of you may have noticed that. And today I just thought that maybe I would do something different, because normally I make videos and it's a whole setup process and my husband has to get involved and it's just a whole lot of work. And I thought that maybe I could take you on a nature walk with me. And it's not even 8 a.m. here where I am. So the reason I'm making this video is because I've noticed in our group and through my blog comments over the years that there's kind of a conflict between women who are out there in the dating pool looking for men who can give them resources, so searching for resources, versus the women who are searching for true love. Now, there's a big difference between the types of men that these two women would attract, and there's also a huge difference in the success that they will feel with men, and not to mention, obviously, there's a big difference in the amount of fulfillment both of these types of women will experience in their life and in their relationships. So, first off, it's important for me to say that true love is a resource in and of itself. Isn't it so pretty around here? Sorry. It's just so pretty here. True love is a resource in and of itself, because obviously when you have strong relationships, that makes you stronger. It makes you more emotionally resourceful, more emotionally stable, and just more able to tackle the world. So yes, love is a resource. However, when you're out there in the dating pool searching for love, for true love, you are by default adding value. But when you are out there in the dating pool searching for resources from a man, you're by default taking value. Now let me explain that, because I know that there's a lot of people who just don't understand the finer distinctions of this. They think that you can have both love and resources. You can have love and money in a man. And that's kind of true in theory, but I'll get to that in a minute. So when you are searching for love, by default, you are adding value, because when you search for love, what do you value? Have a think about it. You value emotional connection. And connection is a two-way street. So when you value emotional connection, you're more likely to attract the kinds of men who will actually fall in love with you and feel and experience the emotions that they need to feel with you in order to commit to you fully and give you everything that you want and need as a woman. Now, when you go into it searching for resources, when you go into the dating pool and you say, hey, I want a man who is willing to provide, because it's a man's job to financially provide for me. Not 50%, not 60%, because, hey, that's not quite right. That's not man enough. But 100%. I want a man who's going to provide for me 100%. It's unavoidable that you'll go into the dating pool with this underlying energy of value taking. Because here's what's important, and here's the finer distinction. You simply can't date for love and resources, because they're in contradiction with each other. So yes, you can have love and money, love and resources in a relationship with a man. You can have both, but you can't date for both, because valuing one over the other fundamentally changes the energy that you show up with. And when you value resources, you kind of show up to men with this underlying tension and this underlying sense of urgency and this needing and wanting of resources. And that, of course, takes away from the connection. Now, I understand that when women get into their early 30s and their 40s, they start to feel like valuing true love and falling in love is a luxury that time can't afford them. And it's kind of unfortunate, because it's like shooting yourself in the foot So you get to a stage where your biology is sending you signals. It's saying, hey, you need to find a husband. You need to actually stop messing around with men who aren't worth your time, or with men who, can't pay your way for you, or pay for, make you feel relaxed as a woman and make you feel taken care of. You need to stop going out with the men who won't do that because you want a husband. Oh, look at this doggy. He's so beautiful. Okay, so where was I? I was saying that as you get older, it's natural that your biology is sending you signals saying, hey, look, you need to find a husband. This is not a joke anymore. You can't just mess around like you did in your teens and your 20s. But yes, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. It's like saying, hey, look, I'm not willing to be emotionally present and be attuned to a man anymore. Now I need to look for what I can take because it's too urgent for me now. But as you get older, it becomes just as important, if not more important, to put emotional connection first. And I don't mean, interview a man and find out if your values align. Because yes, that might be important, of course. But you'll naturally vet men if their values are too different to yours anyway. Garbage truck. You naturally vet men based on whether your values align or not anyway. I'm talking about garbage truck doing its job. I think I might walk the other way. Okay. You naturally vet men based on difference of values anyway. However, if you choose to say, hey, I'm now looking for a husband, I'm now looking for a man who can provide, you're actively saying, hey, I don't value him. I don't value what we create as a team. First and foremost, I'm here because of my own sense of urgency. I want and need a husband. Someone who can be there for me until I die. Someone who I can have a family with. But by doing that, you're naturally filtering out the men who will fall in love with you and be there and love you for your soul, and not for what you can provide for them. You see, when we go into the dating world looking for resources, that creates a kind of transactional quality to the interactions that we have. And not to mention, by the way, if you have a rule that says, hey, men should always pay for things up front, you're going to prioritize the men who actually give you a lot of resources, money, gifts up front. And you can actually get yourself into a lot of trouble doing that. Because a lot of the times the toxic men and the narcissistic men and the manipulative men are the ones who are out of attunement in a relationship and an emotional connection context. And they will use money to buy what they want from you. And you don't want to fall for things like that. You don't want to value the wrong thing and get into trouble doing so. Get yourself into a worse off position. So my suggestion is that if you are feeling a sense of urgency, it's still just as important to value emotional connection, to value true love. And why, right? Why? Because when you value connection, you will be more likely to put attunement first. Now, what is attunement? Because I talk about that a lot, and I think there's a lot of you out there who don't quite understand what I mean by that. What I mean is, attunement is the quality of being at one with and having a sense of harmony between you and a man. That's what happens. Attunement is what happens when two people fall in love. And the smart, high-value men who are looking for their one and only woman, not their one of many women, they will look for attunement in a woman, which means they won't tolerate you emotionally pulling away. They won't tolerate your masks. And often when women are searching just for resources, they have to wear masks because they're not willing to relax and let down their guard and emotionally let a man in and be vulnerable, because they have this tension and this urgency and these rules that create a sense of stagnation, I want to say. stagnation in the energy of connection between you and a man. So, yes, attunement. As a woman, you don't want to be looking for values. Oh, does this man's values and me align? You do want to look for that, but you don't want to just look for that. You want to go deeper than that and look for attunement. So that means not just looking for the surface things that a man says, not just looking for the surface indicators of how you could work out together in the long term, but look for the level of attunement between you and a man, which means to feel where he's at, but also check in with your own feelings often. Check in with your own feelings often, because if you're not doing that, then it's easy to get distracted in this lifetime and to get numb. And that takes away from your level of attunement in relationships. And a lot of relationships fail. A lot of women aren't successful at getting men to fall in love with them because they just don't value attunement. They don't understand that falling in love is not about having rules. It's about being there. It's about being emotionally generous and feeling into a man, feeling where he's at, and just valuing emotional connection and emotional attraction so that men actually fall in love with you. Because the men who, I guarantee you, if you're a woman who's looking for a sugar daddy, or if you're just a woman looking for a man who can provide and give you money and resources and pay your bills, if that's what you value first, you will get some men who'll provide you value. You'll get some men who'll be happy to take you out, who will provide you with lots of money. You might even get some men who feel infatuated with you. That's possible. But those are the same men who will leave you at the drop of a hat when and if they find a woman that they fall in love with. So this transactional quality that comes with valuing resources first and seeking resources over love, you kind of don't feel secure that he's there because he loves your soul. If you value resources first, that doesn't mean that you can't have men giving you value at all. Of course not. Some men will be happy to pay for this and that for you. But it's very different to the quality of a man who truly falls in love with you. And that, I believe, as many women don't agree with me and think that I don't know what I'm talking about, that is what you truly want deep down inside as a woman. Because ultimately, that's what's going to have a man give you what you need and want. Trying to value resources is a short-term strategy, and it's in effect, as you get older, I know as a woman, as you get older, you try and have these rules and standards to try and vet the men who won't pay for anything or who won't provide or be a good husband. But they do it in this way. Sometimes these women do it in this way whereby they're subconsciously or unconsciously trying to shortcut the process of falling in love. It's like they don't care about falling in love anymore because their urgency is so real for them now. But the older you get, the more important it is to establish that emotional connection with a man. Of course, this is why I made my DVD that's free plus shipping, Becoming His One and Only. Because a lot of women don't understand that men will categorize you into two baskets when they meet you. You're either the one of many women or the one and only woman. And you have to be able to appreciate that you're either one of these women. You can't be both. Just like you can't date for love and resources. So here's my suggestion. If you're a woman in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s, and you're starting to feel a sense of urgency, or even if you feel a little bit jaded and feel like, look, I've suffered enough with the men I'm dated. I'm done. Now it's time for them to provide for me. I only want a man who can provide. There's nothing wrong with that. And as a woman, I completely understand that. But have a think about whether that's actually going to give you what you need and want in a man long term. Because as I said earlier in the video, there's a huge difference between the types of men you'll attract. You will repel the men who are looking for their one and only by looking solely for resources, even if they're rich. Because even if they're rich, they'll feel and they will care about whether or not you are there to take. This is my local cafe here. You can see, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see. It's obviously closed right now because of COVID-19 restrictions. On top of all that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a story from my own life. So, back when I was in my 20s, I was obviously still with my current husband, David. Been together for a long time. We always did what you would call the 50-50 thing back then. So for a number of years, I was paying 50-50, 50% of our bills. I was paying my own way. I was paying, rent. Rent I was paying 50-50. And of course at the time I would have preferred that he paid the full amount because that indicates his level of commitment to me. But I never demanded that from him. And he eventually came to a point, because we were in love, he eventually came to a point where he himself suggested he would pay all the bills. Now that was a number of years ago. Now I'm in a situation where he's given me a credit card where I'm allowed to spend in an unlimited way. I never have to pay it back. I never have to ask him if I can buy a certain thing. I just go and buy it. He's more bothered by my asking him than he is about me spending the money. And not only that, but I haven't seen a bill in more than 7 years. I've gone from taking responsibility for paying the bills to now I haven't seen a bill in more than 7 years. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that it wasn't always like this. However, now I'm in a position where I never expected I would have been. I'm in a position where I have what they call true love and resources. And would I still be with him if he lost all the money? Absolutely I would. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money a man can provide for you. Money can be lost. I mean, look at a lot of people now in this situation. So many men and women are losing their livelihoods. Now, how many of them will lose their partner, lose their wife because they can no longer provide? I don't know. But regardless of your age as a woman, if you want to have it all, which most women do, especially successful, high-earning, attractive women, they want it all. They want a man who earns more than them and who can provide more than them. They want a man who loves them as well. If you want something long-term, then value emotional connection first. Value true love. Seek true love and date for true love. Because there's no true fulfillment and no true value in short-term transactional relationships with men. There's plenty of women out there who are willing to trade sex for resources, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a strategy. That kind of thing's been around for as long as humans have been around. But every woman, if you have a soul, like most of us do, you'll get to a point where, especially as you get older, and you realize you start to see through the BS in this world, you will want something deeper. You'll naturally want a man who loves you for your soul and who'll be there for the long term. But you're never going to get there by dating for resources. Remember, you can't date for both. You can't date for both. You can have both, but the smarter way to go about it is to value emotional connection first, because that's what men need from you. That's what good men need from you in order to emotionally commit to you, and not just have you around for a couple of months or a couple of years and give you all the money that you want or need and all the Gucci or Prada that you want or need. Look at this beautiful waterfall, by the way. Can you see that? It's a beautiful walking area here. And here's a playground behind me that is closed, by the way. I can't take the kids to the playground anymore. I think I might walk home now, actually, because I'm almost done with this video. I hope all of that made sense. I'm really not used to doing videos like this. Usually I'm of the viewpoint that by having a pre-prepared prepared script of all the content that I wanted to include ensures that I can actually deliver you all the content that I wanted to. So it's a better package deal, so to speak, that I include everything I want. That's why I did the videos the way I did. However, if you like me doing them like this, if you like me taking you for a nature walk, I can do these more often. Please let me know in the comments, because I don't want to do things that you don't perceive value in. But do let me know in the comments what you think of what I have to say. And just know that at the end of the day, I'm not making any woman wrong for what she chooses, because as a woman myself, we all know as women how important it is to have a man of value, to have a man who is at least resourceful and generous. But wanting a generous man is very different from going into it with these underlying rules for how men should be. Because rules add no value to you and a man. They add no value to the connection, unless you're recovering from abuse or you have strong boundaries that you need to set up. Your rules are your rules, and it's important to question whether they add any value at all to the right kind of man that you want in your life. So, yeah, I think that's about it. I hope it makes sense. There's also a written blog for this, of course. I always include the written part. And, yeah, I'll end it there. And hopefully I get to speak to you guys soon. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Bye.